Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. Give us Reggie content. He's sleeping in the other room. I took him for a little walk around the city. Saw all the crazy Giants and Browns fans out there, so he's resting. He's got a big week coming up, being in all my videos, so he needs a little bit of rest. All right. Oh, turned it on my phone. 1 second. All right, there we go. But yeah, Reggie is sleeping. I'm sorry he can't make it, Ben. I know how badly you want him to, but he's not going to make it for this one. But that's okay. Oh, he's barking. Well, maybe he will. Anyway, what was I going to say? Thank you. Welcome back to the pre-Sunday slate. Just a couple of quick channel things. One, I'm going to make videos this week, but I will not be making videos the following week. I'm going out of town for some personal stuff, so rather than film and edit videos out of a hotel room, I just decided I'm not going to make videos for that week because the quality won't be great if I make it out of a hotel room. So, videos this week, no videos next week. What else? Oh, my Monday video, the NFL meeting, is my best video performance to date. I got like 90 plus new subscribers this week. It was like plus 6,000 views. So if you watch that and you're here now watching this, thank you for watching. If you've been here for a while, thank you for watching. It was really cool to kind of see that video pop off this week. So that was pretty sweet after doing this for like not even a year now. So yeah, so thank you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, buy some merch. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And yeah, let's get into the Sunday slate, which we'll do with New York versus Cleveland. Yeah, I think the Browns win this outright. I don't think they're good enough to cover a 6.5 point spread, but I also could see the Giants losing by 6.5 points. So I didn't bet this. Honestly, I was looking through the slate of games this morning on DraftKings on my phone, and I was picking out my bets and stuff. And like this whole Sunday slate is really weird. Like I said, I could see the Browns losing this game. I could see the Browns winning by like 20 points. I could see the Giants losing but covering the spread. I don't really know what to do with this one. The fact of the matter is, Daniel Jones is bad. Deshaun Watson also kind of bad. He didn't look nearly as bad last week as he did in week 1, so I think that's an improvement. He didn't look particularly good last week against the Jaguars either. So this whole game's really weird. Yeah, I don't like anything the Giants do on offense other than throw the ball to Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is incredible. He had kind of his breakout, game last year as a rookie wide receiver. He looked phenomenal out there catching balls from Danny Dimes, or I don't know, it should be Danny Pennies now. We'll call him Danny Pennies from now on. But yeah, Malik Neighbors is really good. That's pretty much the only thing the Giants offense has going for them. And like I said, Deshaun Watson looked better. The Browns ran the ball really well last week against the Jaguars. Let's see. I think they had like over 100 rushing yards, if I remember correctly. This was such a bad game, though. It was so boring to watch. Yeah, they had 297 yards total. Yeah, 125 rushing yards. So the Browns' rushing offense was there. Deshaun Watson was actually running the ball, which was surprising to see. Like, I didn't think he was going to do that at all coming into Cleveland, especially after he said something along the lines of, like, I expected just to be a game manager coming into Cleveland. I forget the exact quote, but it was something along those lines. And it's just like, bruh, you need to be Houston Deshaun Watson to earn that, like, $270 million contract or whatever it is. So, yeah, that was a wild quote for him just to throw out there in the media. But the Browns running the ball. The Browns' defense is still really good. The Giants' offense is terrible. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I would for sure take the under. I can't see the Giants scoring more than 10 points, and I doubt the Browns are going to score. Browns will probably score around like 21 to 28, somewhere in that range, if I had to guess. So, yeah, take the under. Browns win, I feel. Giants may or may not cover. The Browns are so weird. I don't know. The Giants are just bad. Yeah, Browns win this game. Why am I debating this in my own brain? I don't even know. What else? Oh, I live in Cleveland, by the way, so I was walking around seeing all the Giants fans and the Browns fans out there tailgating and doing stuff this morning. So They're drunk. They're ready to party. It's going to be a bop of a game, a bop of an atmosphere with some low scoring, high defensive play. They're going to run the ball. Injury wise, Brian Burns, easily the Giants' best defensive player. He's questionable. I haven't seen any of the injury updates for that as of yet. Browns' offensive line is kind of banged up with their two tackles. Jack Conklin is out, and Jedrick Willis Jr. is also out. So it's going to be a hit to the team. No David Njoku either, which, I mean, like, the Browns have good receivers. Like, I like Amari Cooper. I like Jerry Jeudy. David Njoku was a good tight end for them to go out there and catch the ball, so it's kind of a bummer that he's not out. But, like, they're going to run the ball as much as they want anyway, so it's like, yeah, David Njoku being out isn't really the end of the world. So, yeah, we'll see how this one goes. But Browns win. It's kind of my prediction. Home game in Cleveland. Defense is going to beat up on Daniel Jones. It's kind of my thought so far. Let's go into the next game. We got Green Bay at Tennessee. I here on this channel personally love the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis is not that good, but man, the pick six he had week 1 against the Titans was amazing, hilarious football. The fumble he had in the red zone last week against the Jets was also amazing, hilarious football. The dude, I said it in one of my shorts, I'll say it again, the man is absolutely must-see TV, for good or for worse. Mayo Man is incredible to watch, and I love him. He is hilarious, and I'm just excited to see what wacky thing he's going to do today. Now, with that being said, the Packers are 3 points underdogs. It is at home, so it's kind of a pick 'em, really, with a 3-point bump for the Titans being at home, which, I mean, makes sense. Like, Jordan Love's probably not going to play. Like, he might play. I doubt it. Need a sip of water. He might play, but, like, why? Malik Willis was fine. They didn't really ask him to do a whole lot against the Colts. They didn't really need him to do a whole lot against the Colts, especially when Anthony Richardson threw 3 interceptions last week against them. So I doubt Jordan Love plays in this game, and I think Malik Willis is going to do just fine. Like, they're going to run the ball a ton with Josh Jacobs. Dude already has like 48 carries on the season, which is bananas. Their receiver, Jaden Reed, he's just a super fast, explosive guy. So I think they're going to be fine on that front too. I do think the Packers win this game. I think Mayo Man is going to give us some incredible interception or fumble that's going to inevitably lose the game for them. I also do think this under probably hits. I mean, like last week, again, the Colts have a bad team, and I think the Packers only put up like 14 points against them. Let me double check that. 16 points. So, yeah. I don't think the Titans are going to score a lot of points here. I think the Titans' defense is actually pretty good, a little underrated. So, yeah, it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I'm taking the under on this one. Probably, I don't want to bet it just because, like I said, I think the Packers win. But I don't know. Like, the Titans are weird. They look really good for, like, a quarter, and then they look really bad for, like, a quarter. And then it just, like, it goes back and forth. I have no idea what to do with that team other than just, like, I'm just excited to see what Will Levis does. Like, it's just beautiful to watch him do really silly things out there. Yeah, they're probably going to run the ball well with Tony Pollard. Calvin Ridley's probably going to have a couple, good catches throughout the game. So, I mean, like, it should be a fun, entertaining game to watch despite it being low scoring. But I think the Packers win. I don't really know, though. Like, if it gets in crunch time and they need Malik Willis to make some big plays or whatever, like, will he do it like how Jordan Love could do it? That's my real question. I have no idea. I'm not betting on this game. There are a lot of games I just didn't bet this Sunday because I genuinely have no idea what's going to happen. And this is one of them. I am taking the under, though. I hope Jordan Love is officially inactive. Okay, so he's not playing today. We got the Malik Willis show again, which, like, Malik Willis was fine. He didn't make any big mistakes. He didn't really win the game for the Packers last week against the Colts, but he didn't need to. And, like, they put him in that position again this week, then, like, I think the Packers will be fine and will probably end up winning this game. But it's a weird game. I have no idea what's actually going to happen, so we'll just see how it goes. All right. What do we got? Oh, we got the Colts versus the Bears. So let's start with the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams looked real bad on Sunday Night Football against the Texans last week. He also looked real bad against the Titans week 1. Now, the thing I think is getting a little not talked about enough in like the national media. Like there, if you go on Twitter, if you look at like ESPN and some other stuff talking about Caleb Williams and his performance, like, oh, he's not playing well. He threw 2 bad interceptions against the Texans, which like he did throw 2 bad interceptions against the Texans. Like I'm not going to hold against him. He is also the team's leading rusher. The Bears' offensive line is real bad. Like he was getting the snot kicked out of him against the Texans, and like Will Anderson and what's their other edge rusher, Daniil Hunter. They were doing pretty much whatever they wanted all game long to that Bears offensive line Sunday night. And so like I think saying, oh, like Caleb Williams isn't that good after 2 games, like saying he's a bust after 2 games when he's just like running for his life back there, like that's disingenuous in my opinion. Like it's just like if you like the same deal with like the Patriots Jets game. If you watch that Thursday night, I mean, there's not much a quarterback could do when he's just get running for his life and is under pressure all game long. So like I don't know. I feel like people saying we need to start having a conversation about Caleb Williams being a bust and all this. Like it's like come on, like it's 2 games into his rookie season. Like let's calm down a little bit. And that offensive line is bad. Like it's real bad. Just watch a Los Angeles Chargers game and then watch a Chicago Bears game and tell me that like a good offensive line versus a really bad offensive line doesn't make a difference for a quarterback, because Justin Herbert is just sitting back there doing whatever he wants. The Chargers are running the ball like down people's throats because that is the Jim Harbaugh way. And so I think personally, like if the offensive line starts playing better, we're going to see Caleb Williams start playing better. He's still going to do some dumb rookie stuff because he's a rookie quarterback. Like it is what it is. So yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on Caleb Williams. On the Colts side of the ball, their defense is not good. The Texans put up a boatload of points against them Sunday or 2 weekends ago. I think they scored 29. They gave up 16 points to the Packers, which, like, once again, going back to the Packers game, the Packers just ran the ball and just didn't play stupid football. They just asked Malik Willis to do enough to win them the game. So, like, I don't think that's indicative of their defensive performance. So I do think the Bears will probably put up some points against them. And then Anthony Richardson's kind of weird. Anthony Richardson has like 10 plays a game where he looks like he's the best quarterback in the NFL, running, throwing like deep bombs, like that one pass against the Texans week 1 where he was like falling off his back foot and throwing the ball like 80 yards in the air was, to this day, the most impressive throw I've ever seen on a football field. But then he also threw 3 really bad interceptions. Like they were all his fault, where he overthrew the receiver straight to the defender. So Anthony Richardson is weird. Anthony Richardson, also second-year quarterback, really a rookie. He didn't play a whole lot last year, so phenomenal, like, physical talent. The accuracy issues, that's a fair concern with Anthony Richardson, so I don't know. We'll see how he does. I think the Bears' defense is actually pretty good. I think they will hold the Colts' offense in check. If they can run the ball against the Colts, I think the Bears win this game. The Colts are 2-point favorites at home, which fair in my opinion. This is another weird Sunday slate game for this week where I didn't bet anybody because I just don't know what to do. Like I could very easily see either one of these teams winning this game. I am gonna go ride with the Colts though. I think they get their first win of the year. I think Caleb Williams probably looks better just because the Titans defense week 1 is a pretty good defense. Texans defense last week is a very good defense. The Colts nowhere near as good, so I think he'll have a bit of a better performance. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to have that big of a game. I don't think he's going to be able to run all over them like how he did last week and the week before, just because I do think the Bears this is like the most classic Bears team of all time, where it's like their defense is phenomenal. Like they get turnovers, they get sacks, they stop the run, they do all this stuff, but offensively they just can't really do much. So it's a classic Chicago Bears team. I want to see Caleb Williams perform well. I think it'd be fun to watch, like if the Bears finally have a good quarterback, but their offensive line's so bad. That offensive line is just so bad. So yeah, this is another just weird game. I'm taking the Colts though. If they win, I think they do cover. I think Brian Callahan gets his first win as or not Brian Callahan, Shane Steichen gets his first win of the season, and yeah, the Colts defense is still bad. Bears will probably put up some points. Hopefully, my bold prediction for this one, Caleb Williams gets his first touchdown pass of the season. Probably going to be the first rookie quarterback to do it because I don't see Bo Nix getting a touchdown pass today. And I don't see, and Jaden Daniels might get one tomorrow night against the Bengals, but it's tomorrow night. So that's what I think is going to happen is Caleb Williams is going to be the first rookie quarterback to officially get a touchdown pass for his team. And, yeah, that's really all I got at this game. Keenan Allen's out, which isn't great, but they still have DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, so their receivers are fine. But, yeah, well, the Bears offense line so bad. That's my big takeaway for the preview of this one. Bears offense line is no bueno. All right. Next up, we got Houston versus the Vikings. This is a fun one. I'm excited about this one. I am a Sam Darnold stan. I have been a Sam Darnold stan for about a month and a half on this channel, so I have been long into it. Both teams are 2-0. Both good teams with good defenses and good offenses. CJ Stroud, he didn't have his best game against the Bears, but like I just said, Bears defense is actually pretty good, so like kind of is what it is. Joe Mixon is not playing, so who is their back? Is it Antonio Pierce or Damian Pierce? Let's see. Yeah, Damian Pierce. So we got Cam Akers and Dario Gumbawale running back. So I imagine the Texans are going to throw the ball quite a bit in this game. Excuse me. To our boys, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins. Nico Collins continues to be a phenomenal wide receiver for the Texans. Like, he's obviously their wide receiver 1. And then Stephon Diggs is kind of like wide receiver 2A, 2B. They're both really good. I like their tight end, whose name is escaping me. Is it Dalton Schultz? Did they get him from the Cowboys? Yeah, Dalton Schultz. That's who I thought. So, yeah, the Texans are going to throw the ball quite a bit against the Vikings. But Brian Flores, I hate him personally, just as a Dolphins fan. I don't like him. But Bobby Slowick, the Texans offense coordinator, is a Shanahan guy. Brian Flores, whether it be Sean McVay in the Rams, Kyle Shanahan in the 49ers, Mike McDaniel in 2022, he knows how to like slow down that Shanahan offense, and like it's what he does. It's kind of his specialty. So I think the Vikings defense is going to have a really good defensive performance. If the Vikings offensive line holds up against a very good Texans defensive front, I think the Vikings offense is going to move the ball and do well. Is Justin Jefferson playing? Yeah, he's playing. Okay, so it was just a thigh bruise. He's going to be fine. He'll be out there running routes and doing crazy things. The fact that like ESPN's matchup predictor has the Texans like a little bit over the Vikings, like that surprised me. And the fact that the Vikings are 2-point underdogs, which like, I mean, it's 2 points. It's not, that big of a deal, but they do get the 3-point home bump. So like really ESPN bet has them at like 5-point underdogs, something like that. Let me zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. Sorry about that. Yeah, so they have them at like 5-point underdogs, which like I find surprising. Like, how could you watch what the Vikings did week 1 and week 2 and then also just be like, oh no, they're still like not that good of a football team? I personally don't get it. I mean, like they beat the 49ers, and granted, like Deebo Samuel got hurt, George Kittle got hurt, CMC still isn't playing for the 49ers, but like still, I mean, they threw the ball well against that 49ers defense. They moved the ball pretty well. Sam Darnold is, 476 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Like, he's playing well. So I would take the Vikings +2 in this. I think I did take the Vikings +2 in this. I don't have my bets in front of me. Yeah, I just find it shocking that they're home underdogs when they're 2-0 and they beat the Giants week 1, but they beat the 49ers last week. And don't get me wrong, the Texans are good. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if I see the Texans winning this game, but Brian Flores knows how to deal with, like, Shanahan offense. The Texans run, but with Bobby Slowick, Shanahan offense, so I'm taking the Vikings +2 in this game. I think this over probably hits 46.5 points. Like, I couldn't imagine either team not scoring that many points. Like I said, both defenses are good, but both offenses, I don't know. This is going to be a fun game. I think the Vikings win, though. CJ Stroud's still going to look really good. I could very well be wrong about this. Like, the Texans are one of those teams, like, you just never know what they're going to do. Like, CJ Stroud could very well just go off, throwing the ball all over the field. I don't think they're going to run the ball very well, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. But yeah, well, this should be a fun game. This is my 1 o'clock game that I am most excited to watch. And then the number 2 1 o'clock game that I'm most excited to watch is the Eagles versus the Saints. The Saints are making me look like an idiot out here. If you watched my NFC South preview video that I released like a month and a half ago or whatever, I said the Saints were going to be really bad. I said they were only going to win like 4 games this year, and they won their first 2 games by scoring more than 40 points. So I look really, really stupid. So thank you for doing that to me, Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. You guys rule for that. Rashid Shaheed, 1, great name. 2, absolutely just going off. 7 catches for 169 yards on the season. He had that like 60-yard bomb against the touchdowns. Alvin Kamara with 4 touchdowns on the year is absolutely insane. Like, he looks like a totally new running back out there. Their offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, is apparently a very good offensive coordinator, which I didn't see that one coming. I mean, I guess I could have with, him being, what's his dad's name? Whatever the Kubiak dad is, and also coming from the Shanahan coaching tree. I guess I should have expected. And Derek Carr looks like a totally new quarterback. Like, the dude is just chucking the ball deep. A lot of people have been saying over the course of his career, like, Derek Carr, good quarterback, not a great quarterback. And through the first 2 games, he's looked like a great quarterback. Like, 30 for 39 for 443 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That is absolutely insane. The thing about the Saints is their defense isn't that great. I think the Panthers put up 10 points. Cowboys put up 19, both of which came in garbage time. I mean, and like, granted, the Cowboys were just like, I think the Saints scored 35 points in the first half or something. So the Cowboys were just playing from behind. Like, they couldn't run the ball. They had to just drop back there and pass it, which, like, if you put a team in a situation where they only have to do one thing, like, yeah, they're not going to do that well offensively just because they kind of have to. So I'm still out on the Saints defense. I'm still curious on that one. But their offense is for real. They look phenomenal. And then on the flip side, Eagles offense looks really good. No surprise. Saquon Barkley with a good offensive line. Who would have thought? Like, he can play really well. He can score. I said it before, and I said it again. The Eagles defense is not that good. Vic Fangio is their defensive coordinator. I am a documented forever, for all time, Vic Fangio hater. It was actually really funny. I was texting some of my Dolphins friends, like, when the Falcons got the ball back on Monday night, like down 21-16 or down 21-15 or whatever it was. And I was saying, like, I remember the Titans-Dolphins Monday night game last year when the Dolphins were up like 14 points against the Titans with like 14 minutes left to play. And Vic Fangio's defense just played like straight prevent defense, and the Titans like scored twice and ended up winning that game, like I said, down 14 points with 3.5 minutes left to play or whatever it was. And as soon as like Saquon Barkley dropped that pass, didn't convert the first down, I'm like, oh, Vic Fangio's defense, he is going to blow this Monday night game for the Eagles. I was texting some of my buddies. I was having PTSD flashbacks to that Titans-Dolphins game from last year. And sure enough, Kirk Cousins moved the ball like 65, 70 yards or whatever it was in like a minute. a minute and a half or something like that, like just no time, just ripping the ball downfield. And Falcons go down, score, and win the game. And shockingly, Vic Fangio's defense blew it on Monday night, which is what he does. So that was validating to be proven right. My Broncos are cooked. Yeah, man. I'll get to the Broncos here in a little bit. But yeah, they aren't looking good, homie. But I'll talk about them in a second. But yeah, the Eagles, I think Kellen Moore is a good offensive coordinator. Their offensive line's very good. Their receivers are phenomenal. Saquon's phenomenal. Jalen Hurts is really good. But I think the Saints are going to put up points on that defense. And yeah, I think the Saints win this game. I think it's going to be a shootout. Saints are probably going to win like 40 to like 35 or something like that. Somewhere in that range. So I'm definitely taking the over. I'm definitely taking the Saints to cover. Just because I think Derek Carr is going to continue lighting the world on fire. Like Rashid Shaheed, all-time football wide receiver name. Like there's no way he's not going to be great in the NFL. So it's kind of my thoughts on that game. Yeah, Eagles lose. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a fun game. And Saints are going to win. All right. We got the Steelers versus the Chargers. This game is so weird. Because, the Steelers should not be 2-0. Mike Tomlin is a wizard, is the best way I can put it. They have penalties. They don't run the ball very well. They play phenomenal defense. That is something I will forever give to Mike Tomlin and the Steelers is they play incredible defensive football. TJ Watt, the best, arguably, edge rusher in the NFL. The dude should honestly be getting MVP votes at this point with his sacks and forced fumbles and all that stuff. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a very good safety. They got good linebackers with Patrick Queen coming over from the Ravens in the offseason. I will give it to the Steelers on this front. Their defense is phenomenal, but I think they had 15 offensive penalties for 150 yards against the Broncos last week and still ended up winning that game. And the thing is, I was hating on both Justin Fields and Russell Wilson coming into the season, but Justin Fields, he looks pretty good. He still doesn't do the anticipation throws very well, which I know he's not that great at reading the defenses, but the dude can run. He makes good plays on the run. He can rip the ball and he puts it on a dime. Justin Fields has his faults, but he also has his strengths. And there was that one, I think it was a 60-yard touchdown against the Broncos or something, where he should have very easily had another touchdown pass for a 60 yards in that game, but it got called back for a holding penalty. Last week against the Broncos, the Steelers should have scored probably in the 20s or 30s point wise, but they just kept taking killing drives through penalties and stuff like that. So it blows my mind. I offensively, they're just not that good. Justin Fields is really the only thing they got going for him on the offensive side of the ball. George Pickens is also very good. I kind of forget about George Pickens. Yeah, Steelers are just such a weird team. On the other hand, I think the Chargers win this game outright. Jim Harbaugh is a very, very, very good football coach. He has shown in college and in the NFL that he's a very good football coach, and he kind of does it his own way. He likes to just get big, ugly offensive linemen and run the ball down other teams' throats. Justin Herbert, for the first time in his career, is in a position where he's I don't have to be Superman and put the team on my back to win the game, which I think that's great for Justin Herbert. As a Dolphins fan, I kind of get into the Herbert versus Tua wars. I think both are really good quarterbacks. I can't hate on Jay Herbs. He's obviously very good. And when he's put in a position with an incredible offensive line and a run game and a couple of good wide receivers that can catch the ball, he's going to perform just fine. He's going to be good for that team. And Jim Harbaugh loves Justin Herbert. Everything you hear about him say in press conferences or practices and stuff like that, he is in love with Justin Herbert. And they're kind of giving him the J.J. McCarthy treatment in Los Angeles, where it's like, we're going to run the ball a ton. We're going to ask you to make a couple big throws throughout the course of the game. And, like, as long as you can hit him, we'll be good. And Justin Herbert hits him. Like, he's looking really good. So I do think the Chargers win this game. I think it could go either way. A West Coast team going out east, like, that's always a little bit tricky. But I think Harbaugh will have them prepared. I think they'll be able to run the ball. What I'm really interested in seeing is Joe Alt, their left tackle rookie coming out of Notre Dame. He shut down, what's his face? Who do they play week 1? Why can't I not think of this? Oh, he shut down Max Crosby week 1. Like, I think Max Crosby didn't even have like a quarterback pressure when going against Joe Alt, which is incredible because Max Crosby and TJ Watt, like, two of the best pass rushers in the game. Like I said, TJ Watt's probably number 1 by a little bit, but Max Crosby isn't that far behind. And Joe Alt completely shut him down. Joe Alt delete pass rush. You know, that's his nickname going around the NFL Twitter sphere. And I'm excited to see that matchup against, you know, TJ Watt. Like, I know a lot of people don't get excited about offensive line versus defensive line matchups. I'm excited personally. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, man, like, I think the Chargers are going to run the ball. I think they're going to move the ball against the Steelers. And Steelers probably won't run the ball that well against the Chargers defense. I don't know. Chargers defense is weird. They played the Raiders, which just don't have the greatest offense in the world. They played the Panthers, which obviously don't have the greatest offense in the world. I think the Steelers are better than those two teams, shockingly, offensively. This should be a fun game to watch. I am taking the Chargers. That under definitely hits. I don't think either team puts up big points. But yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh is going to do enough to, you know, get the team in a good place. Justin Herbert's going to hit a couple of big time throws throughout the game. They're going to run the ball a ton. And it should be just like an old school, like, slobber knocker, punch each other in the face over and over again kind of game, which I like watching those. I also like watching the high flying, like, big time scoring, but, like, these games are fun to watch too. And so this one should be good, but I am taking the Chargers in that one. Oh, all right, buddy. Peyton Dog, my homie. We got your Broncos against the Buccaneers. I'm sorry for all you Broncos fans out there. The Bucs defense is really good. Similar to the Steelers defense last week, they're going to get after Bo Nix. They're going to cover the receivers. Like, the Broncos aren't going to run the ball because I don't think they can run the ball. And, like, I like Javonte Williams. I like Jaleel McLaughlin, their running backs. So fun fact about me, I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. Jaleel McLaughlin is a Youngstown State Penguin. I think he was an undrafted rookie last year or the year before. It was last year. I'm a big fan of his. I just like seeing guys from, you know, my hometown go out there and succeed. They're not going to run the ball. Like, when Bo Nix is your rushing leader 2 weeks into the season, he's got 4 interceptions against a very good Todd Bowles coached up defense. Like, yeah, it's going to be a rough game for the Broncos. I think the Bucs win at home. I think they cover 6 points easily. This over-under is 41.5 points. It's probably, like, I think that hits just because the Bucs are probably going to score like 30 to 35 points because Baker Mayfield is on fire. He continues to be on fire. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans look like they're 10 years younger going back in time. Baker is like Browns rookie season Baker again. Yeah, I'm sorry, Broncos fans. This is going to be a rough game to watch. Bo Nix might get a touchdown pass. We'll see. Probably not. But Bo Nix, similar to my thoughts on Caleb Williams, he's a rookie. Like, he's doing his best out there. His offensive line is not good. Outside of Cortland Sutton, they don't really have good receivers to throw to. I mean, and their leading receiver is Josh Reynolds, which, like, I mean, he was a Lions? Yeah. Played for the Lions last year. I mean, like, he's not a bad receiver, but, like, he's not that good. It's Cortland Sutton is clearly their best receiver. 2 games, 4 interceptions, and they were some bad bad interceptions by your boy Bo Nix. So Broncos are cooked, man. Bucks are gonna be 3-0. Broncos are probably gonna be 0-3. It's gonna be another rough game for you to watch. But like it's the NFL. Anything could happen. I believe in the Broncos a little bit, but not that much. Yeah. This is gonna be just a rough game all around for your Denver Broncos, buddy. I'm sorry about that. All right. Panthers versus Raiders. We got the red rifle. Andy Dalton coming in for Bryce Young. And man, did the Panthers do Bryce Young so dirty. They're like, we're going to give you no offensive weapons. We're going to put you behind a terrible offensive line. We're going to give you 2 games underneath a new offensive coach in Dave Canales, and then we're going to pull the hook when you don't look good. And it's like, surprise, surprise. Like, Bryce Young put in a situation to not succeed. He doesn't look very good. Like, who could have saw that one coming? I can't believe, personally, the Raiders are only 5.5-point favorites. Like, it should be 8 or 10. Like, I'm hammering the Raiders on this one. They're going to cover that easily. The Raiders offense, like, Gardner Minshew is fine. Gardner Minshew is this generation's Ryan Fitzpatrick, where he can get incredibly hot and have these incredible games and look phenomenal. But like you never know. The Panthers defense is bad. They just lost their best defensive player. What's his name? Shy Tuttle or whatever it is. No, there was another guy. Why can't I think of his name? Is it Deshaun Robinson? Yeah. Anyway, their defense is hemorrhaging with injuries. I don't think a 40-year-old or however old he is, Andy Dalton, is going to do that great for them with those receivers and that offensive line. Adam Thielen, he's old. He's slow. He's not looking that good. Yeah, it's rough going, real rough going for Panthers fans out there in the world. So Raiders win. Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins, they're gonna feast on that offense and that offensive line. The Panthers are just a sad football team. David Tepper is kind of a scumbag owner. Like, I don't understand how anybody could succeed when they're like given no chances and getting micromanaged to all hell. I don't have a whole lot of this one. I do love Antonio Pierce and the Raiders. I'm just going to throw that in there. He's awesome. I don't know if the Raiders are like a real good team or not, but I love Antonio Pierce. He's sweet. I love Max Crosby too. This one's not going to be close. I don't have any more thoughts on that. All right, we got the Dolphins at Seahawks. I mentioned it before in my video and in a post. The Dolphins have officially broken me. So I got that going for me. I told myself before the Thursday night game against the Bills last week that if they get blown out by the Bills again, which they do once a year, and it makes me sad, that I am officially out. And listen, these are my thoughts on the Dolphins. Weight classes exist for a reason. The Bills, the Chiefs, Bengals, 49ers, maybe the Vikings, Saints now. The Saints are kind of still up in the air. I need to see it for a little bit more. But those are like the good Super Bowl winning teams. And for like the past 2 years, I thought the Dolphins were in that upper echelon of like good Super Bowl winning teams. And they're not. And that's okay. That's an okay place to be. They're not a bad team. They're not an average team. They're an above average team. Like, they'll probably win 9 to 12 games. They'll get into the playoffs. But they're not making any hay against like the really good teams. Like I said, like the Bills, Buccaneers, throw them into Chiefs of the world. And that's fine. Like, that, it's a good place to be in acceptance when it comes to that as a Dolphins fan. Like, it could be worse. I could be a Panthers fan or a Broncos fan or like one of those teams. So Dolphins are 1-1. Dolphins are 2-0. Seahawks defense has looked pretty impressive underneath Mike McDonald, their new head coach coming over from the Ravens. Geno Smith, he's not the worst quarterback in the world. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world. They don't have Kenneth Walker the third this week, which he's a big portion of their rushing attack. So I don't know. But DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, they have good receivers in Seattle. Like I said, their defense looks pretty good. As a fan, as a homer, I could see the Dolphins sneaking out a win in this one. I'm not banking on it. Tua's on IR with a concussion, which it makes me sad. I love Tua. I have been a Tua stan since he got drafted in 2020. I want nothing but the best for him. The concussions make me sad. Apparently, he went to like Disney World after the game on Thursday or whatever. He went like Friday with his family with like Raheem Mostert and stuff like that. So like, if he's riding roller coasters, the concussion is probably not that bad. I don't know why they put him on injury reserve, but whatever. It's not my problem or my issue to fix or solve. Skylar Thompson, though, 7th round rookie quarterback from 3 years ago. He's been in the Mike McDaniel offense for 3 years, so he understands the offense. He throws the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all of them. So he understands the offense. He knows what he's doing. Mike McDaniel drives me crazy and does some wonky, weird things, but I still think he's a good coach. I think he'll put in a good game plan for Skylar. I think they're going to run the ball a ton with my boy, Devon Achane, who had... Honestly, Devon Achane was the best player against the Bills in that Thursday night game. So I am taking the Dolphins +4. That is a homer pick. I don't expect them to win this game. I could see them winning this game, but like I don't have high hopes. The Seahawks defense is really good. The more I lead into it, the more I think the Dolphins are going to win. But like that's just me setting myself up to get hurt. Yeah, I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest. I do think the Dolphins defense, like, they kind of got ran over by the Bills with James Cook, who had 3 touchdowns in that game. Seahawks probably win this. I'm going to bet the Dolphins +4. Probably going to take the Dolphins money line just because I'm a fan and I hope for the best. But unless Skylar shows up and like starts playing the best football I've ever seen him play in his entire career, I don't think the Dolphins win this game. I think the Seahawks, like the 2-0 record's kind of a little fraudulent. I mean, they beat the Broncos week 1, giving up 2 safeties, which was wild. They beat the Patriots, who have one of the worst offensive lines of football and who are not that good. So, like, their 2-0 is a little misleading. But, I mean, like, with that being said, I think the Seahawks are a good football team. I think they are good, not great offensively. Their defense is very good, but yeah, Seahawks probably win this game. Honestly, I'm wavering back and forth on that one. I don't know. I'm just conflicted. The Dolphins make me sad. Put it this way. All right. We got the 0-2 Ravens versus the Dallas Cowboys coming up next. The Cowboys got shellacked by the Saints last week. The Ravens blew a lead against the Raiders. The Ravens are 1-point favorites. This one's kind of a pick'em. Both the Ravens and the Cowboys are kind of the same team, where it's like they have all the pieces in place to be like superstar good teams, but sometimes they just do really stupid stuff and it doesn't make sense. With that being said, I'm taking the Ravens -1 in this one. I think they win this game. I think they get off the schneid. Mike Zimmer's defense got kind of exposed and looked bad against the Saints. Now, granted, I think the Clint Kubiak Saints-led offense is much better than the Todd Monken-led Ravens offense, but Lamar Jackson's really good. They can run the ball well with Derrick. They just need to give Derrick Henry the ball. I mean, honestly, that's what it comes down to. Like, the fact that like Lamar Jackson is their leading rusher is appalling when you sign Derrick Henry in the offseason. I think the Cowboys' offense is good. I think the Ravens' defense is better. I mean, the Ravens' defense has a lot of talent back there. I think they're well coached. I can't believe the over-under in this game is like 47.5 points. Like, to me, that is mind-blowing personally, but I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, I think the Ravens get off the schneid this week. I think Lamar Jackson has a big game against the Cowboys defense, which pretty sure, yeah, they got a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. What's his name? Deron Bland, their cornerback. He's not playing. Let me find the Cowboys. Where are you? There they are. Yeah. Deron Bland being put on injury reserve. Two of their offensive linemen being put on injury reserve. I mean, those are big hits to their team. I think Dak gets a lot of unnecessary hate out there in the world and out there in the media, mainly because of this guy, Stephen A. Smith. But like Dak's still a good quarterback. Um, this should be a close. This should be a fun game. Like I said, I do think the Ravens get off the schneid and get their first win, though. I don't think they lose back-to-back games, and they also like the Chiefs' loss against the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a good football team. Like if you lose to them, it's not the worst thing in the world. The Ravens losing against the Raiders, like that was inexcusable. What were they? They had at one point a 90.6 probability. They were up 23-13 with 11 minutes left in the game. And then the Raiders came back and won. So that's pretty inexcusable from a Ravens side of things. I think John Harbaugh is a good coach. I think Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback. I think they have enough going on defensively that they beat the Cowboys at home. It is in Dallas, which does make a difference. Like, the home teams, they get a little bit of a bump, but I don't think the Ravens are going to start off this year 0-3. So I'm taking the Ravens to win. I think it'll be a close, competitive game, but I do think they pull it out. Probably going to be a lot of points just because the Cowboys are going to get behind because their defense isn't that good, and they're going to throw the ball and ask Dak to do a lot, which is, for better or for worse, not great. But yeah, I got the Ravens winning this game. Next up, we got the Rams versus the 49ers. Man, the Rams, the Rams is just so unfortunate. Like, I love Sean McVay. I love Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford for the past 16 years in the NFL continues to be one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time. But both Puka Nacua and what's his name? It's escaping me. Cooper Kupp. They're both out. I think literally every single one of the Rams starting offensive line is out. I think Kyren Williams is a little banged up as well. So it's just it's really just Matthew Stafford and his running backs versus the world out there offensively. I don't think the Rams defense is that good. I think they have a lot of young players who can be really good, but they're still learning and getting in the NFL. On the flip side, 49ers are also pretty banged up. Christian McCaffrey, he's been put on IR. He hasn't played yet this season. George Kittle's not playing today. Deebo Samuel's not playing today. I think Brandon Ayuk is also banged up, if I remember correctly. No, he's not banged up. But defensively, Charvarius Ward and Nick Bosa are both banged up. Ricky Pearsall, we're probably not going to see him anytime soon. So this is literally the injury game. But the Rams are significantly more banged up than the 49ers. I don't know what they're going to do with literally every single one of their starting offensive linemen are banged up for the Rams. I don't know what they can do in that situation. Their two best receivers, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, are both also out. It's just really unfortunate for the Rams. I like watching Matt Stafford play football. I like watching Sean McVay coach football. But when all of your supporting pieces on offense are just injured or out like that, there's not much that they can do in that situation. So I think the 49ers get this one. I think it's going to be closer than 6.5 points. Like I said, there's going to be some Matt Stafford and Sean McVay magic that's going to keep this closer than it should be. So I don't think the 49ers cover, but I do think they win. It's in Los Angeles at home, which Los Angeles homes games for both the Rams and the Chargers are really away games. The 49ers fans from San Francisco are going to travel in droves to go to that game. So it's going to be loud in there from all the 49ers fans. And yeah, I think the 49ers pull out the win. I think it'll be closer than this. I do think the Rams probably cover that plus 6.5 points. And with that being said, they did get blown out by the Cardinals last week, so you never really know. Um, yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on that one. Second to last game, we have the Lions versus the Cardinals. This is going to be a fun one. I love Dan Campbell and the Lions. They are like behind the Dolphins. They are like the team that I root for. I'm not a Lions fan, but I wish nothing but the best for them. I like I like Dan Campbell. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the funnest wide receivers to watch. Their running backs, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, are both really good. They have a phenomenal offensive line. I think Lions win, and I do think they cover that 3-point spread. With that being said, the Cardinals' offense is really good. Kyler Murray is like full on back, like he's running around doing his thing out there. So I think this is going to be a big offensive game. I don't think the Cardinals' defense is that good. I think their coach, Jonathan Gannon, like he is a good defensive schemer. He's a good defensive coach. I don't think they have a whole lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, though, which makes a big difference. Like Budda Baker is obviously a very good safety, but their defensive line and their edge rushers are not that good. And I don't think they're going to be able to pressure Jared Goff the same way the Bucs defensive line did. And if you don't pressure Jared Goff and make him uncomfortable, like he's going to just pick you apart and throw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. What's his name? Jameson Williams. Throw the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield. Throw it to Sam Laporta. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Like the Cardinals are going to put up points. Kyler Murray is good. Like I like to make fun of Kyler Murray on this channel. I call him a professional short person. But like at the end of the day, he is a very good quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. had his coming out party with 2 touchdowns, 4 catches for 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns last week against the Rams. This is going to be a fun, high-scoring affair, not a pair, in my opinion. And I do think the Lions win. I think they beat up on the Cardinals' defense quite a bit. But the Cardinals are going to score points, and it's going to be a fun game. It'll be a good game to watch in that afternoon slate. It's going to be much better than the Rams, 49ers, and the Dolphins, Seahawks, and these games. Like, honestly, the Ravens and Cowboys and then the Lions, Cardinals, like those are going to be the 2 best games in the late slate in the afternoon. Yeah, they should be fun to watch. And then last game, Sunday night, we got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know what to do with the Falcons. They looked like hot garbage against the Steelers week 1. And then they played, as I said before, a bad Philadelphia Eagles defense on Monday night, and they kind of got held down all game long. They ran the ball real well against the Eagles. They didn't pass the ball that well until the end of it. Kirk Cousins missed some open receivers for touchdowns, and like the dude's coming off an Achilles tear. Aaron Rodgers didn't look quite right the first 2 weeks, and he looked like old Aaron Rodgers against the Patriots on Thursday night. So I'm hoping Kirko kind of has that same thing where he needs a couple games to get back into it. I mean, don't get me wrong, he looked unreal good on that final drive, moving against the Eagles defense to win the game Monday night. Once again, that is Vic Fangio, though, playing prevent defense and not doing smart things. So, yeah. The Falcons are weird. Plus 3 points at home against the Chiefs on Sunday night. I think that's fair. The Chiefs are also weird. Like, here's the thing about the Chiefs is, one, their defense is back to being incredibly good. Like, you cannot sit there and look me dead in the eyes and say, oh, the Chiefs defense under Spags isn't that good. Like, they're very good still. The offense is kind of doing the same thing they did last year, where they kind of look shaky, but they do enough to win. Patrick Mahomes had some bad interceptions over the course of the first 2 weeks. He had that one bad one against the Ravens on Thursday night where he just straight up threw it to the linebacker. He had another bad one against the Bengals last week. But, I mean, they did enough to win the game. He made enough good plays. Their defense is still really good. Isaiah Pacheco going on IR isn't great for them, so they're going to have a tough time running the ball. with the Carson Steele, their white running back, which we love. We love a good white running back here at FinDup. Just white cornerbacks and white running backs. It just makes the world go round. They're like, it's like seeing Bigfoot or a UFO. You don't see them that much out there in the wild. So when you see a white running back or a white cornerback, you just get a little excited. And with all that being said, I do think the Chiefs win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons ended up winning this game. Primetime Kirk, he's like 19-2 or something in primetime games over the past like 6 or 7 years or something crazy like that. So he's turned that narrative around. But yeah, I think this should be a fun game. I'm excited to see the Falcons run the ball with Bijan Robinson against the Chiefs defense, who's like the Chiefs defense one weakness is their rushing defense, and the Falcons proved they can run the ball really well against the Eagles last week. So I'm picking the Chiefs to win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons won. But yeah, those are kind of my overall thoughts on that bad boy. And then we'll do the Monday night games real quick. I think the Buffalo Bills curb stomp the Jaguars. I'm full on just like, because the Dolphins are bad. They're not bad. They're not. The AFC East is the Bills division until somebody takes it away from them, and it doesn't look like anybody is taken away from them anytime soon. And I think they go out there on Monday night and kick the crap out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. People keep trying to tell me Trevor Lawrence is a top 10 quarterback, and like, I personally have nothing against Trevor Lawrence. Like I like him. I liked him when he was at Clemson. But like, when people keep trying to tell me like, oh, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, like, he's not. And like, that's okay. Like, it's just, why do we have to keep pushing this narrative that like Trevor Lawrence is really good? Like, I think he still can be. Still think he has time to be really good. But as of right now, he is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. That safety last week against the Browns to essentially seal and lose the game for them, that wasn't great. The Bills, they're running the ball a ton with James Cook. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, 2 running and 1 receiving against the Dolphins, and it made me want to cry. Josh Allen is, Josh Allen doesn't even have to put on like the superhero cape to go out there and win football games. When the Bills are winning and scoring points offensively, without Josh Allen needing to go full crazy Josh Allen mode, like, that's when the Bills are good. And despite their defense being banged up quite a bit, their defense is pretty good. So shockingly, Sean McDermott, despite being a terrorist, is a good defensive coach. And yeah, I think the Bills kick the crap out of the Jaguars on Monday night. And then the last Monday night game, we have the Commanders versus the 0-2 Bengals. I think the Bengals had a rough week 1 against the Patriots because they do this thing where they don't play any of their players in preseason, in which, like, you got to play your players in preseason. Like, it shows. But they looked good against the Chiefs last week. They kind of lost on that BS pass interference call, which, like, I mean, that's just what happens. Teams brain fart and forget what they're doing late in games against the Chiefs to get them to win games. Like, it is what it is. So I think the Bengals win this game. I don't know if they cover by 7.5 points. But Joe Burrow, he looked fine last week against the Chiefs. He looked like he's fully back. Their defense looked pretty good, getting after Patrick Mahomes. What's his name? Cam Taylor-Britt had one of the sickest one-handed interceptions I've ever seen on a football field. I think the Bengals are good despite being 0-2. I mean, they shat the bed against the Patriots week 1, and they kind of got bailed out. The Chiefs got bailed out by the rest. So Bengals win this game. On the Commanders side of the ball, I don't think their defense is that good. I do think of all the rookie quarterbacks that have played so far this year, Jaden Daniels has looked most impressive out of all of them. Like, I think the Commanders are going to move the ball. I think they're going to put up points. I think they're going to ask Jaden Daniels to do a little bit more than just hand the ball off a million times. You can do that against the Giants and win the game, and you can't do that against the Bengals. And I think he's going to be fine. I mean, he's still a rookie quarterback who's still learning how to play. He's looked the best out of all of them. So I think it'll be a fun, competitive game that the Bengals will ultimately end up winning. I am probably going to take the Commanders plus 7.5 points. I do think they cover. I don't think the Bengals win by more than 7.5. But they definitely win the game. And so, yeah. All right, that is my preview of this week in football. So if you're here watching still, thank you so much. For those of you in the chat, thank you for joining me. And yeah, thanks for coming and checking out my channel and doing all this. And whatever your favorite team is, whatever your bets are for the day, best of luck. And I love you all. Bye.